friends, and welcome back to Discover Your Personal Power, Hormones, Metabolism, and Midlife. I'm Peggy Moore, a registered nurse and functional medicine consultant, and basically your translator for what your body is actually doing right now. My goal in this show is to help you understand your biology well enough that you stop fighting it and start working with it. I want to help you reclaim your energy, learn your body's rhythm, and feel confident in the decisions you're making instead of constantly second-guessing yourself. And I do the research so you don't have to. You don't need to be up at 10 p.m. Googling hormone studies instead of preparing your mind for bed. I stay current on the science and I break it down into real-life language that fits your actual life. Today, we're talking about something that happens to a lot of women in midlife. When your body suddenly decides in the middle of the night that it's the perfect time to start dancing again. You fall asleep just fine. Everything's normal. You're exhausted. And then around 3 a.m., your brain wakes up like the band just started playing. And suddenly you're alert and maybe even a little restless. Possibly reviewing every awkward conversation you've ever had since 2004. And you're lying there thinking, why am I awake right now? But let's be honest, waking up at 3 a.m. feels a little suspicious. You were exhausted at 10 p.m., you fell asleep just fine, and now your brain is suddenly acting like it's morning. If that sounds familiar, don't worry, your body isn't broken. There's actually a very real biological reason that this happens. So let's make the biology simple. It starts with your body's internal clock and two hormones that help run the whole rhythm of sleep and wakefulness, cortisol and melatonin. Cortisol is often called the stress hormone, but it's really more like your body's daily alarm clock. It follows a very predictable rhythm across the day, or it should. Under healthy conditions, cortisol should rise early in the morning, peak shortly after waking, and gradually decline throughout the day, reaching its lowest point during the first half of the night. That rhythm helps regulate energy, metabolism, and sleep. But when the stress load increases, cortisol can start rising earlier than it should. And when cortisol rises between 2 and 4 a.m., guess what happens? You wake up. Research explains how chronic stress alters the HPA axis regulators and disrupts circadian cortisol rhythms, contributing to nighttime awakenings. In other words, your internal orchestra started playing morning music too early, so your brain thinks the dance floor just opened, even though it's still the middle of the night. Something else that contributes to a spike in cortisol that we don't often think about is blood sugar. Even while you're sleeping, your body is still using energy. Your brain, your heart, your nervous system, all of it requires fuel to perform. Normally, your body pulls that fuel from glycogen stored in the liver. But if certain things happen during the day, those reserves may run low overnight. For example, if dinner was very low in protein or carbohydrates were extremely restricted, dinner was skipped, intense evening workouts that deplete fuel stores, overall calorie intake was too low. These things can mess with your blood sugar, and when blood sugar drops too low overnight, the body releases cortisol to bring it back up. Cortisol actually mobilizes stored glucose. So cortisol wakes you up. So the sequence kind of looks like this. Low blood sugar, cortisol spike, 3 a.m. wake up. Research from the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism shows that disrupted sleep and glucose regulation are closely linked through hormonal signals. So this is not traditional insomnia. It's actually metabolic communication. Your body is basically tapping you on the shoulder saying, hey, we need a little more fuel over here. It's important to eat your evening meal 3 to 4 hours before sleeping to allow your body to digest so that you can use energy for all the other processes working while you sleep. However, it is also important to recognize the need for some kind of complex carbohydrate at dinner, along with your protein and healthy fat. Carbohydrates at dinner aren't just about energy. They help your body produce serotonin and melatonin and maintain stable blood sugar overnight. When dinner is extremely low carb, some women experience blood sugar dips while sleeping, and the body releases cortisol to correct it, and that cortisol wakes you up. Now, let's add another dancer to the floor, progesterone. Progesterone has calming effects on the brain through its influence on GABA receptors, which help to regulate relaxation and sleep. As progesterone begins to decline in perimenopause, sleep becomes lighter, the nervous system actually becomes more reactive, and stress signals can feel stronger. Think of progesterone like the calm partner in the dance. When she quietly leaves the dance floor, cortisol suddenly has a lot more room to spin around. And that can make those 3 a.m. wake-ups more likely. Many women describe midlife sleep as, I'm exhausted, but my brain just won't stay asleep. And this happens when the nervous system remains more sympathetic, alert, and vigilant instead of shifting fully into parasympathetic recovery mode. When the body perceives stress, it prioritizes vigilance over repair. Your body isn't trying to sabotage your sleep, it's trying to protect you. But when the stress signal never fully turns off, the dance between sleep and alertness becomes uncool. I bet by now you're saying, thanks for all this information, but how do I help my body stay asleep? So what actually helps stabilize that 3 a.m. wake-up pattern? Not 12 new supplements, not lying in bed negotiating with the ceiling. Instead, we help our body resynchronize the rhythm of the dance. We support our liver's overnight fuel tank. Your liver stores glucose in the form of glycogen, which helps maintain blood sugar during sleep. If those reserves run low overnight, cortisol steps in to fix the problem. Think of glycogen like snacks your body packed for the overnight road trip. If the snacks run out, someone has to wake up and go find food. Supporting glycogen stability may help prevent that cortisol spike. Some helpful strategies include eating a balanced dinner with protein and complex carbohydrates, avoiding extreme evening restriction, and making sure overall calorie intake during the day is adequate. Sometimes even a small evening snack, something simple like protein and fiber, can help stabilize overnight energy. No midnight nachos required, just enough fuel so your body doesn't panic at 3 a.m. Next, resetting your circadian light signals. Your brain's master clock runs almost entirely on light signals. Morning light tells your brain, okay, it's time to start the day. And darkness tells your brain, okay, the dance floor is closing. But modern life confuses that rhythm. We spend the day in dim indoor lighting and the evening under bright screens, which basically tells the brain it's noon forever. So try this. Give 5 to 10 minutes of morning sunlight within an hour of waking. This is huge. It helps to increase morning cortisol, and it shows your body when the energy and cortisol should be high. Dim overhead lights in the evening. Lights tell the brain to stay alert. Reduce screen brightness before bed. Light is one of the most powerful regulators of circadian rhythm. You're essentially helping your eternal DJ play the music at the right time. Next, create a nervous system downshift. Many women go straight from productivity mode to bed. Emails, laundry, scrolling, news, and the brain is expected to immediately fall asleep. That's like finishing a high-energy dance routine and expecting the band to suddenly play a lullaby. Your nervous system needs a tempo change. Think of the last 30 minutes before bed as the cool down song. Helpful cues include a warm shower or bath, gentle stretching, slow breathing, journaling to clear mental clutter, calm music, or reading. These signals tell the nervous system that it's safe to power down. And when the nervous system feels safe, the body is much more willing to stay asleep. And then last, if you wake up at 3 a.m., don't panic. The worst thing that can happen at 3 a.m. is the thought, oh, great, now I'm awake again. Because stress about sleep increases cortisol. Instead, think of it as a temporary rhythm interruption. Your mind is racing, so instead, you relax your shoulders, you slow your breathing. Sometimes getting up briefly and reading something calm in a low light can help to reset the signal. But the goal is not to force sleep, it's to remove that alarm signal. So if you wake up at 3 a.m. tonight, instead of lying there wondering, what is wrong with me? Remember this. Your body is not broken, it's communicating. And it's telling you that energy stability needs support. Your stress buffering system needs strengthened, and your eternal rhythm may just need a little recalibration. Your body is simply trying to re-coordinate the dance. And when the rhythm becomes more stable, sleep does too. If this episode resonated with you, if you're beginning to see how stress, blood sugar, hormones, and metabolism all interact and affect us as midlife women over 40, hit the like button below and make sure you subscribe so you can get all the great information. Share this with a friend who is tired of waking up at 3 a.m. wondering what is wrong with them, because chances are nothing is wrong. Their biology just needs a better rhythm on the dance floor. This is Peggy Moore with Discover Your Personal Power Midlife Edition. I'll see you next week.